their administrative powers that are at their discretion. And literally, they all think that they're the man. Like every Republican staffer, intern, wannabe, they all think that they're the man, and they want to go and swing their, big you-know-what around the city. And that's just prototypical. And if you're in D.C., you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like these Washington, D.C. creatures. And that's what Gavin Wax is, running the NYYRC. Complete climber, striver, wannabe student council president, wannabe factotum, or Miranda Cosgrove from School of Rock. And that's just so typical to not see the big picture. And him being a Zionist Jew, that plays a part too. But anyway, so that's that. I want to move on. I want to talk about this story in the Washington Post, which I'll pull up.
So let me know in the comment section in the chat, what do you guys think about that that inside baseball on Nick Fuentes when it comes down to the chat in itself? I would like to know you guys' opinion. Jax Wiz with the $5 super chat said, I like words, but try not to swear. Dropping F-bombs shows a lack of intelligence. I like that too. Don't get me wrong, I can swear like a drunken sailor. Yeah, you know what's crazy? And you're right, actually. Dropping a lot of swear words, a lot of F-bombs, a lot of stuff shows a lack of character. I'm not saying that if you drop out one F word here and there is wrong. I'm not saying that. But doing it a lot, it is a problem. It just shows that you don't have the intelligence to just have a normal conversation without having emotions involved. And listen, I'm not I don't swear a lot. I swear very little. I would say during my week, let's just count the seven days in a week, I would swear 0.1% or something like that, 0.5. Very, 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 very rare. So I'm not that type of guy that like to swear. I'm very rare. I will swear.
This is another big story. Not cool.
Thank you so much for the super chat, Jackass.
Switching gears a little bit, we covered the Gaza peace plan all last week. And so much fanfare and so much pomp and triumphalism surrounding this deal. I'm sure you all saw Trump's speech at the Israeli Knesset. What the fuck was that? I mean, he goes up there. You can't even overstate, you can't even exaggerate how ridiculous, what a folly this was. So last Monday, was it really only just been a week? Maybe it was more than a week. Trump and Netanyahu come together for the fourth time this year in America. They hold a press conference and they present this 20-point plan for peace in Gaza. And over the ensuing week, Trump really nails Netanyahu down and gets him to agree to a first phase implementing the 20-point plan. And this consists in a ceasefire, a partial withdrawal from the IDF, and a prisoner exchange. Hamas gives up the remaining hostages. Israel frees, I think it's about 1,500 Palestinian hostages or prisoners. All the Zionists got mad that people are calling them hostages. I don't know. They seem like hostages to me. But anyway, so they implement the deal, and Trump flies out to Israel to speak at the Israeli Knesset, their parliament, their legislature.
You're asking me if I have live Discord streams? I don't. I'm new Discord. I don't know how this thing works. I don't have even the member capacity to do so. If I did, I will probably do a members Discord live. I don't know how to do this. I'm just new to Discord. And, slowly we're getting there, I guess. We only have 2 people. But it's something that I would like to do in the future. Talk with my members, talk with my audience, and have a more one-on-one of just group sessions with them as well, and discuss more American politics. I would like to just get more into the Constitution and enforcement of it. Because I think what we're missing in politics, personally, I think it's the muscle of exercising what we call the Constitution, the muscle. I personally think that that's something that we have to discuss. Because their politicians are simply a reflection of their voters. That's what it is. And, if you do, I will show up. Of course, man. Of course. That's the momentum that we're heading. Hopefully, with a lot of these videos that I'm posting, we can increase the members in the Discord.
And then flies to Egypt to sign the deal with the House of Al Thani from Qatar, with the Egyptian president, with Erdogan from Turkey. I think Maloney was there, Starmer was there, everybody was there. Trump goes to Israel to give this speech, and the glazing was like, it's a level of glazing that shouldn't even be possible. He goes up there and says, no one went to the White House more than the Adelsons. He said, and I asked Miriam Adelson, which do you love more, America or Israel? And she wouldn't answer. It's like, they're just giving it away. They're just saying it now. And Shapiro, or somebody, I think it was an Israeli reporter from one of the Israeli television stations, said that the head of the dais, I don't know which official it was, but the head of the dais in the parliament put on his yarmulke because it was a religious experience. There's some Israeli reporter said, I've never, in 20 years of reporting on the Knesset, I've never seen anything like this. People were putting on their yarmulkes, which they don't even do normally. He said, and they put on the yarmulke to show religious reverence for Trump and what he was saying in the speech. Okay, this is what, I'm not even exaggerating, that's what they said. And then in the middle of the speech, Trump, unscripted, says to the president of Israel, which is different than Netanyahu, he says to the president of Israel, you should pardon Netanyahu. He's a war hero. He knows how to win. That's why everyone loves him. And you need to give him a pardon, like seriously. Okay? And Netanyahu is happy as a clam. Like, this guy could not be happier. Happy as a clam. So this is a speech that Trump gives at the Knesset. It's a religious experience for the Jews. He's their Messiah. Then Trump flies to Egypt and signs the deal. And so far, so good. It looks like Hamas is giving up the 20 remaining living hostages. Israel's preparing to give up some of the prisoners. And what's really interesting is now some of these Muslim countries are disavowing Hamas. And October 7th, Mahmoud Abbas, who is the head of the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, he condemned October 7th for the first time. And there's some reporting that says that Hamas is laying down their weapons. I haven't seen that verified, but if that's true, you know, it does seem that maybe this peace plan has some legs. I was very skeptical. And just very briefly, in a nutshell, my problem with the peace plan is that they didn't agree to all of it yet. Okay, they're implementing it in phases. The parts that they have not agreed upon are really the root causes of the conflict. It's whether there'll be a Palestinian state. It's whether Hamas will disarm and leave. It's whether Israel will retain security control over the Strip. Like, these are all things that have been the root problems. These have been kind of the source of the intransigence.
What do you mean that you meant that being combat? Like, mean like veterans that have experience with combat, meaning that they went and they served? I mean, on a conversation
from the very beginning. So in other words, if there was no agreement on this in January of this year, in May of last year, in November of 23, why is there suddenly agreement on this now? And so I suspected that this, like every other ceasefire, was just Israel buying time to get a reprieve for their reserve forces, to maybe refocus on another adversary in the theater, a different theater in the conflict, like Iran, or even the Houthis for that matter, or disarming Hezbollah. You know, like, take your pick. Like, they're temporarily pausing in Gaza so they could go and focus on the other guys, give the ground forces a breather, and then go back in later, absent a commitment to implement a longer-term deal. But some of what's being said has surprised me. And like I said, Abbas disavowing October 7th, some reporting that says Hamas is ready to disarm. It seems like...
You're saying I was a medic in the 3 ID deployed to Iraq, was a combat and got the CMB. Yes, and I do agree. Yeah, that's what I was getting to. If you have, how can I say it? It's just come down. This will be a different conversation from the content that we're reacting, but it has to do with the Constitution, by the way. I think which amendment is, let's see, the 19th Amendment is the right for women to vote. Man, the 19th amendment, I think it's the 17th, right? Let's see. The 17th Amendment, Polish. Describe no. What amendment give the right to vote? Let's see. I think it's the 15th Amendment, right? And in 1870. I think that amendment was a mistake because we're just giving people that have no contribution to the nation a position of a saying, which is a problem. The IDF, they have Ilan. IDF, what is that?
Maybe it really is over. I mean, who knows? But then I saw the story today in the Washington Post, and you've got Donald Trump saying that if Hamas does not voluntarily disarm, if they don't give up their weapons and leave the strip, Trump says that the United States will violently disarm them. And I'll read the story, then we'll explain the significance. It says, President Trump said Tuesday that the United States could step in to disarm Hamas quickly and perhaps violently if the organization does not do so itself. He said, which is a potential vulnerability in the U.S. brokered ceasefire agreement that has tentatively brought an end to 2 years of war between Israel and Hamas. Hamas, which has controlled Gaza for nearly 2 decades, has not yet publicly agreed to or signed anything specifying how it will disarm, although Trump suggested that he had received verbal assurances that they would. He said, everyone says, oh, well, they won't disarm. They will disarm, he said. And I spoke to Hamas and I said, you're going to disarm, right? Yes, sir, we're going to disarm. That's why they told me they will disarm or we will disarm them. Got it? Trump declined to provide specifics on how the United States would do that, and when asked about a deadline, said it would be a reasonable period of time.
You have to, but Nick, you have to do this in phases. Because then, if you don't do this in phases, you're not guaranteed security. If you do this like one step and that's it, I think it's more likely that even Hamas or Israel is going to start attacking each other again. You have to create a momentum where you have other parties enforcing those phases, and that way just get momentum.
He's just like an NPC. It literally is like a dialogue tree, right? They said, sir, how many times have you heard Trump, like he retells a story, and in every story, the people are saying, sir, sir. Like every story starts with another person talking to Trump and respectfully addressing him. Sir, sir. Hamas said, do you really think Hamas said that? Were they even speaking English? Like, what are you talking about? And then, what's the deadline? A reasonable period of time. Like, no one's ever seen. It's just like.
Did Israel has already attacked them since the ceasefire? Meaning the first ceasefire or this one? The money for Hamas has dried up, yeah. And Hamas, so yes, Hamas is not oh my goodness, Hamas is not a nice guy either. So we should not even, I don't know, like, I understand a lot of people don't like the people from the hats or the jewelries, but we should not be just pretending here that Hamas is a good guy. Like this guy is still deleting his own people.
NPC response, it's just like a sound box, right?
Really, the last one? Really attacked? Really?
You press the button, you just get the same things. Anyway, he says, I don't have to explain that to you. Love it. But if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. They know I'm not playing games. Later, he went on a tangent that suggested he believed Hamas could not yet disarm because the group needed to take out a couple of gangs that were very bad. He said, we have told them we want them to disarm, and they will disarm, and if they don't disarm, we will disarm them, and it'll happen quickly and perhaps violently, but they strongly and powerfully, and we're monitoring.
Yeah, I think you're
right.
But
they will disarm. Do you understand me? Now, why does this matter?
Yeah.
Of course, this is ultimately what the war is actually about. The war, why did Hamas attack Israel? It's simple. Hamas attacked Israel because of a deal that was in the works between Israel and Saudi Arabia. What does Trump do in his first term? He and Jared Kushner facilitate the Abraham Accords, which is a diplomatic breakthrough. Prior to Trump's first administration, Israel had normalized relations with just 2 countries in the Middle East, Egypt and Jordan, by treaty. At Camp David in 79, and Jordan, I think, in 93. both by treaty. Every other country, with the exception of Turkey, which recognized them almost immediately in 48, every other country from Morocco all the way through to Pakistan does not recognize Israel's existence, its right to exist, does not have normal diplomatic, economic relations with them. They have some like clandestine cooperation, like in the Gulf, for example, but none of them had normal relations. And this is really the crux of the whole Israel-Middle East conflict, is that Israel is here, and they're, some might say trying to integrate into the region, but it's a hostile region. You could argue they're not really integrating, they're trying to dominate, but the point is, how do you resolve this problem? The Israelis arrive, they displace the natives. Every other country goes to war against them, right? And there's debates about who provoked who, but needless to say, there's this perpetual enmity.
Correct. I agree with that. He's very good with geopolitics. He's very good. He follows very nicely. When I grow up, I would like to just talk like him. That's for sure. That's for sure. He's very good at just keeping his pace. He doesn't stutter. He's very good. And by the way, breaking news: John Bolton got indicted of 18 federal charges.
Between them and
let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about that. That's crazy.
Every other country does not accept their presence in the region, and they call them an illegitimate regime. They call it an occupation, the Zionist occupation regime, because they fundamentally reject that the Jews have sovereignty over the territory, which they believe is Palestine. Anyway, this is really at the heart of all of it on some level. So Trump gets in, and he brokers the Abraham Accords, and he bribes Morocco and Sudan and Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates to normalize their relations with Israel. And it's a huge breakthrough because nobody thought this could be done. Why do these countries not normalize relations with Israel? Because of the Israel-Palestine conflict, because they believe that Israel is not a legitimate state, has no legitimate claim to the land. They committed the Nakba. They occupy the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. Some of them think they got to go altogether. Some of them think they need to return to the pre-67 borders. There's a lot, but they will not recognize Israel as legitimate sovereign over the territory because of the Israel-Palestine conflict. As such, they cannot have any normal relationship, no strategic relationship, economic relationship, diplomatic relationship, and nothing official, formal on the books. So this is a huge breakthrough. And Trump brings over the Emirates, Bahrain, Sudan, Morocco. And one of the big things this opens up is the opportunity for the Gulf countries, which are rich in oil and have this facility, the petrodollar system. They have all this cash. They can start to invest their sovereign wealth funds into Israel.
So we have a Jackass $10 super chat. Trump can say everything he has said and use force if it comes to that, because Trump has made friends with all the rich and powerful leaders in the region. Yeah, that's a great point, by the way. And this is something that I think, if I'm understanding correctly, Trump, at the end of the day, what Trump has, and he understands, is the power of force. And before he became president, he became friends with a lot of these people. And this is something that we have to give time. We have to give time to this to really just unfold and just get to the right place. Trump is a smart guy. I've never seen a president to work so hard like him, and very smart. Trump is a smart guy. He just thrives of fixing problems. And that's why I'm not even worried about what he's doing. There's a lot of panicking in Twitter. There's a lot of panicking. Like, not everything that he's going to do is going to be liked by the conservative movement, but you have to give him credit that he just at least have that ball moving. Thank you so much for the super chat, Jackass.
And Jared Kushner's at the forefront of this. He brokers the deal with his connections to Israel and the Gulf. And Kushner makes a fortune when the sovereign wealth funds of the Gulf countries begin to pour their capital into Israel.